You and your wife are trying to exchange or planning to exchange the file cabinets. So you have a lot of files in your cabinet, so you are planning to move those files in batches. So in the first batch, you pick few files from your cabinet and you get closer to your wife's cabinet. That's when you realize that she is also moving her files in batches. So she still have few of the files that is left in her cabinet. So you do not want to mix and mess things around. In order to avoid that, you wait for her to move all her files to your cabinet first so that you could move yours. Similarly, on the other side, she is also feeling the same. Since you have a few files left in your cabinet, she does not want to mix her files with your files, so she waits until you remove all the files from your cabinet. So both of you guys kind of wait for each other, causing a condition. What if this happens in an SQL server? Before trying to replicate the scenarios of the deadlock, we would need to understand what a lock-in is. Say in the previous example, you are trying to fill in your files into your wife's cabinet and you are letting your wife know that you are trying to access your wife's cabinet, meaning you are gonna acquire her cabinet for a little bit of time to put your files into her cabinet. And this process of letting others know that you are gonna acquire a particular piece of resource for yourself to make changes to it or like to read what is it in it is called lock-in. So keeping our dirty thoughts aside, the next thing that we would need to understand is the lock-in mode. While discussing with the lock-in modes, it might even get more dirtier, so we can switch to a different example, right? Let's say in this example, when you're reading a page from a book, you can read it by yourself or you can let your friend who is sitting next to you to read along with you, isn't it? So when you write a particular line in a notebook, what if your friend sitting next to you interrupts you and writes along with you on the same line? So wouldn't it be annoying? To prevent these things, there are different modes of lock-in that SQL provides that can help processes from messing things around. Say when you read the page, you have to let others know that you are gonna acquire a share lock on that particular page of the book that you are reading. So similarly, the friend who is sitting next to you would acquire a shared lock to read that page. So multiple people can acquire a shared lock to read the page. Whereas in case of write locks, you would acquire an exclusive lock for yourself to actually write on a particular row in the page. You won't allow your friend who is sitting next to you to hear any kind of exclusive lock or a shared lock or an update lock when you have already acquired an exclusive lock that is specifically for you to write on a particular row within a page. So in case of update lock, say if you have a transaction that has multiple lines of queries to be executed. So in the first query you read, in which case you would have established a shared lock. The next line, say if you are inserting or updating, you would have to change your shared lock to an exclusive lock so that others cannot access that particular piece of record or a resource. Before it moves to an exclusive lock, an update lock is acquired. So a step that says that I'm gonna acquire an exclusive lock before it actually acquires it would be an update lock. The next thing that we would need to know is the intent locks. The intent locks get occurred when there is a situation to escalate a lock on a particular resource to a higher level of resource. As the level of the data where it is stored gets escalated, say if you have it's 7,000, 8,000 rows to update and it gets escalated to a page. So instead of acquiring a row lock on those 7,000 records or 8,000 records, it escalates to a page lock. When multiple of these pages are involved, then it would escalate to an extent lock. If you are wondering what these pages and extents are, I have a video link in the description box below which explains what pages, extents, partitions are and how the data is structured behind the scenes in an SQL server, which will give a more detailed and in-depth understanding of different resources on which these locks that we discussed earlier could be applied on. Now we know that there are different types of locks that could be acquired on different levels of resources. Let's try to bring back the initial example we discussed in the beginning of the video where the husband and wife trying to exchange their cabinets. Say when the husband tries to remove his first batch of files from his cabinet, he acquires an exclusive lock on his cabinet, which is the resource in the SQL world, right? So similarly, when his wife tries to remove her first batch of files from her cabinet, she acquires an exclusive lock on her cabinet. right? Then when the husband tries to move to her cabinet and tries to acquire an exclusive lock on her cabinet, he realizes that two different exclusive locks cannot be acquired on the same resource, right? And similarly, when wife comes near her husband's cabinet, she realizes that the resource has already been blocked by her husband's process, so she will not be able to acquire. So this is what is causing the deadlock. There are two exclusive locks that are supposed to be acquired on resource that already has been locked, right? And there is no way that one could release the lock so that the other could complete the transaction. This is a typical scenario of deadlock. This usually happens when two process trying to work on two different resources in a different order. Say here, like the husband is a process and the wife is another process trying to access two different resources, which is the husband's cabinet and the wife's cabinet, in a different order. This is what is causing a deadlock. So being said, in the next video we will try to replicate different types of deadlocks, say for example row id locks, key lock, and probably a page lock, and see how we can replicate the deadlock scenarios using those three types of locks. That's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for sticking around. See you in the next one.